OP, only in my line when you feeling lonely. And even though I already know, girl, I still pick up the phone. And I don't wanna waste time on you, but girl, I'm still FaceTiming you. Girl, you know what you doing, that's why I'll be there in a few. Girl, you know what we do. Out of pocket, stop it. Baby girl, you knowin' how we rockin'.
What's going on, guys? It's Juice Audio, and today I'm in Roseville, California. I just left Key Studio right now, and I just want to say that this episode is packed with a lot of information, and it's going to be a long one. So if you guys want to skip to what you want to hear, I'm going to manually put in the timestamps down below. And I just want to say that Key knows a lot about this gear, and not only just because he's heard about it on YouTube or read on a forum. It's because he's actually had it and owned it over the years, and over time really summed down his gear to what works best for him in his situation. So I hope you guys enjoy. All right, man. Appreciate you letting me come.
Yeah, for sure,
Yep.
man.
So got a lot of sick gear here, honestly, bro.
Yeah, this is the space. I appreciate you coming out, taking a look. Always dope to meet new people in the area.
Bro, man. This is one of those like hidden gem, like
yeah. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it was crazy because Key hit me up through Instagram. He's a subscriber of mine, and he said that he has these speakers, which I've been dying to hear for a while. Shout out PDP.
Yeah, Mark and James, they're great guys. They hooked me up with these, and I haven't really looked back since. So all the music moving forward I can almost guarantee is going to be coming out of those speakers and mixed and mastered on those speakers. So
Nice, man. So just tell me about what you do then.
So I'm an independent artist. I recently moved into the area, put out an album about a year ago, and have kind of been trying to navigate everything out here, get back into the groove of things. You heard the album. So that album was done half, I want to say maybe a little bit less than half of where I used to be, over at UC Merced, which is where I went to college. I graduated over there. And then I found work out here. Took me some time to set everything up because the studio was not like this before. Almost redid everything, and then finished the album on here. And then just kind of, like I said, getting back into the groove of things. Did a writing session the other day for myself. And really just back to like the learning and getting the motions down and recording more.
So was your album that I was listening to, it was recorded like through that mic, or did you?
Yeah, so that album was recorded, again, like I said, about half or a little bit less than half was done in Merced. This mic, the Chandler mic, is probably my favorite mic that I've used ever. Close second would be the other mic that I used on my album, which is the Soyuz 017 mic, the tube version. That mic is really solid. I loved everything that was going through both of these mics. This actually has a built-in preamp. The Soyuz didn't. So the Soyuz, I was running through a Neve style pre with the TubeTech CL1B. This mic, I was running just directly into the CL1B at the time until I switched over to my new vocal chain. And then just everything moving forward has been this mic into all that Hazel Rig gear, which we could go over later too. It's a tube-based pre and a tube-based compressor. Super solid, and obviously tube mic with the built-in pre. So
Yeah, man. So I remember when we were talking on the phone, I was like surprised because a lot of this gear that you were talking about was like stuff you use, and you try.
Oh yeah.
And like you found what's like fits your voice perfectly,
For sure.
Which is definitely a process, but that's like how you get like maximum efficiency, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it's just easy. Like all the workflow for is like exactly what's coming out of that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that we talked about over the phone too, was like I had a lot of gear before. I used to do hybrid, like even with my mixing, and then I also had the vocal chain I was telling you guys about. With this right now and the build that I'm going for, like I mentioned, it was all about maximum minimalism. So the theory behind that was to reduce all the gear to just what I needed, but to get the best things I can find for each piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why right now you'll see that I'm running, again, what I thought was the best mic for me. This vocal chain was something that was kind of still new and up and coming, but I saw that Fern was partnered with Hazel Rig, and the Fern stuff I always hear like great things about, and so I decided to take a leap and try out the Hazel Rig gear, and I really haven't looked back since. And then in terms of conversion, I feel like not a lot of people talk about what conversion they have, but I use the Lynx Hilo, and that's just, it's mastering grade conversion, you know what I mean? So you can't really go wrong with that, and it's super solid with the routing. I could track through it. I obviously mix and master through it, and it has a lot of I/O for me to run into the Trinnov. You guys can't see it, but it's in the back of the desk. I have it racked, and then I have that going digitally into the AES of the PDP MUM-8s. So everything is like a super, I try to keep it super efficient. From what you can see, obviously, like the studio itself doesn't have a lot of space, so really emphasizing again on that maximum minimalism, so that way everything can kind of shrink down and be proportionate in regard to acoustically. It's already a challenge, right? Like you design studios, so you already know like having the smaller room is not the best idea.
Yeah.
So definitely like minimizing the amount of space that you need in your studio and the amount of space that like stuff like your desk takes up, because you got a big desk that could cause a lot of acoustic reflections and everything like that. So having that, having solid stands that don't vibrate the rest of the room as much as possible, decoupling them, all the small things that I feel like a lot of up and coming artists might not pay attention to, just because, and I've learned that like through experience, right? Because I didn't know about this stuff, but as you kind of grow into a lot of the progress, you learn about all this, and then you start paying attention into the little things that can make a big difference or that can help your workflow. And really just the end goal is kind of getting back into just making more music at the end of the day. So
I kind of went through like a stage of that too, like cutting down. I had a desk that was just like a little box, and it was just like kind of open air. Like I wanted the speakers there.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm back and forth between that, but definitely like the workflow you got set up with the, what's that called, the triad?
The triad orbit.
Yeah, everything is just like so easy to do. Like if you want to pull up here, you can just hit start and start recording, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Like all my mic stands I have on Triad Orbit gear, because when I do have multiple mics, like I have the Sony down there, I could literally just take this off really quick with the latch, or this is probably better to show you guys. I could take this off real quickly with the latch, no needing to unscrew anything, and then I could just, when I swap the mic, I just throw on a new, I could just swap it really quick. I don't have to unscrew everything, and it just makes for an easier workflow. All my microphones have the Triad Orbit latch attachment on them, and that's just kind of how I work, just so that way, as the artist and the writer, like a lot of the things being through me, right? Because I have to kind of facilitate myself with a lot of this stuff. I'm sure a lot of people know what it is to like lose a really good idea, and a lot of the technical stuff can get in the way, especially when you're still learning it. So getting rid of as many obstacles as possible is what I would recommend to a lot of people, just so that way, like when you have an idea, you could just like just load it up and start recording.
I started going towards that too. Like at first, like I usually just produce with 2 preamps, but since I have like the upright piano, I got drums, I got like guitarists that come through. Like I ended up buying an 8-channel ADAT, so then whatever the mics stay there, they never move, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Yeah.
And there are some people that have studios where they just never turn anything off ever. So like you go in and you could hit a key on like a synthesizer and it'll like run through the pre's and out the monitors, and it's like, you know, stuff like that. I feel like a lot of them are producers. Yeah. Mostly. I just wanted to take a page out of their book, you know, and just kind of always be ready. I don't leave my gear on all the time, just because it is tube gear, and I don't want to burn through the tubes too fast. But I definitely can see myself in the future maybe building like a solid state setup that, like, if I just wanted to get some ideas down, I could, and just start recording.
Sick, bro.
So
yeah, let's talk about the room then.
Oh yeah.
So how big is the room, do you think?
I think when I was looking at the floor plan for the house, It was about 11 by 10 or 11 by 9. And obviously it's an asymmetrical shape. So this room definitely was not ideal. And that was for sure a challenge coming in. With everything going on in this room, I knew for sure that I needed to treat it as much as possible. So that's why you see coverage on almost every inch of the room except for this like back ceiling. And the reason being is because low end can become a real problem in here if untreated. Obviously, you want to treat your first reflection points. I would say even at a basic level, all artists who have their home studio should try to treat their first reflection points and kind of have their bases covered, just because those are the reflections that'll mess with your decision making the most, right?
Yeah.
And you've treated a lot of studios, so you know that as well.
That's like how you get the most
Bang for your buck,
Yeah.
almost. Yeah. Back wall is a lot of like mix of absorption and diffusion, just so that way I could keep the absorption, because diffusion a lot of the times you need space or enough space for the sound waves to reflect back at you. I don't obviously have that much space, so diffusion was not really a priority for me. I just didn't want to over deaden the room.
Yeah.
And all of this was treated by GIK. You know, they treated me well throughout the whole process. Definitely not the cheapest option, but they were fast. I didn't have to really worry too much about the panels when they came in, and I really didn't want to hand build more panels.
Yeah.
So definitely saved me a lot of time, especially with everything else that I was trying to do for the studio. So
Did you build this on their GIK website first, or you just
I did actually. So they have, for those who don't know, they have a room 3D kind of modular visualizer thing, and I built this entire room, shaping everything down to the dimensions, and then I started inserting panels, and I was discussing with one of the associates at GIK, kind of getting their opinions and really trying to tune the room as best as possible without them actually having to be here. And this is what we came up with. It's really just, when you're in a room this small, it's a basic principle of just as much coverage as possible, because you don't have the space to really tune it how you need to. You really just want to cover as much of the room as possible, treat the room as much as possible, and from there, you kind of might want to lean into something like a SonarWorks or a Dirac, or what I have in this case is a Trinnov. Again, you can't really see it, but just to pull it up so I could show you guys. The Trinnov is right here, and I have all my treatment going through, obviously, the physical treatment of the room, but I also have this Trinnov that measures the room, takes into account all the frequencies and how the room sounds, and then it kind of levels everything out. And it does more than just what the SonarWorks and the Dirac would do. It would also treat the phase alignment and the time as well. So I could actually show that, I believe. Let's see, where is that? Optimizer settings, position. So it actually measured where my speakers were based on the measuring mic, and it recalibrates it so it makes the phantom center stronger.
Why? Yeah. Why is there like two pairs there? There's a left, right, and then is that the before and after?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So ideally, you want this full green left, right, and then the left, right here in blue is what my actual speakers were when I set them up, right? So like I physically tried to get them as even as possible, but you can only do so much when you're moving, 50, 60-pound speakers, and then on top of that, the stands. So I get them as close as I can with the tools that I had. I had a laser level and a protractor and a ruler. And then, yeah. So I try to get them as close as possible, but what I think it was the stands aren't exactly identical. So even though, like, eyeballing it and measurement-wise, the stands, in my mind, were in the right spot, since they're not one-to-one, then wherever I placed the speakers, it kind of shifted them just a little bit, like you can see here. But what the Trinnov does is it corrects for that as well, so.
Yeah, that as long as I always wonder about the Trinnov because it has a pretty hefty price tag, right? It's like $3,000.
Yeah.
Without the mic, right?
Yeah, without the mic. So all in all, it's like a $4,000, almost $5,000 setup.
Yeah.
Especially at the time before the new Nova came out.
Okay.
But what I was blessed enough to do was take my TubeTech CL1B and actually trade it for a Trinnov at the time because for some reason the TubeTech was on a shortage. So everybody was like hiking up the prices for them, and I really just ended up taking advantage of that and trading it for a Trinnov, which you can let me know your thoughts on it, but to me, making sure that the room is good and what you're hearing is good is way more important than whatever compressor you're using in your vocal chain. So I decided to do that, and then, like I said, I ended up shifting my vocal chain anyways to the Hazel Rig stuff, so everything has kind of just been falling into place for me.
Yeah. I will say, like, everything here you did right from the jump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't go backwards, like, instead of having to fix problems, it's like the problems are fixed, and then from now on, it's just easy sailing.
Like you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Like we discussed, just kind of come in here. When it's time to work, you just sit down and, I could just start writing.
Yeah.
Stand up, sit down. The Triad Orbit can do both, and I don't have a mic stand that's in the way that could cause some more problems. I have it racked directly to the desk, and then if I ever needed to take it out, again, like I said, it's a latch here, and I could pull this whole arm off, and I no longer would have the microphone in the way. So
that thing is honestly sick. I'm gonna buy some of those for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Triad Orbit is super solid, not only just for like the quick attachment, but like you can really it's super solid. Like you don't really have to worry about it. I trust having my, $5,000 microphone sitting there, leave it there. I don't have to take it down. I don't have to worry about it. Only thing I worry about is like dust and stuff, so I cover it when I'm away. Yeah. Otherwise, I just leave it here.
Yeah. The room is like treated perfectly because like I don't feel like that weird ringing, when it's overdone.
Yeah.
So like having that diffusion, it just helps a little bit, like feel normal, but controlled.
Yeah, definitely.
And then on the cloud, you got like 8-inch panels.
Exactly.
Right?
That's another thing too. I feel like a lot of people sometimes forget the ceiling, or maybe not even forget, but it might be too much trouble for people that are maybe just starting out. But again, back to the first reflection points thing, this is one of the first spots that needs to get treated. So ceiling, and then right and left, get those treated, and then probably the back wall next. A lot of people say it's the corners. The corners are like, it's good to treat the corners too for bass buildup, but a lot of the times most people aren't even going to have the appropriate equipment to treat bass to begin with. Yeah. So when people ask me, a lot of the times I'll recommend them to do the first reflection points primarily, which everybody's approach could be different.
So today I'm proud to say that this video is sponsored by Bucar Audio, a Danish high-end speaker company who not only makes the best looking speakers I've seen, but also some of the best sounding speakers I've heard for the price. You might be asking, why would I care about hi-fi speakers? I'm here to mix, produce, and master. Well, luckily they have just the model for you. The new A10s are a compact full-range speaker that not only produce a lifelike sound for casual listening, but with the download of their studio master tuning, change into clinical near-field monitors. They play from 28 to 40,000 hertz at plus or minus 1 dB, and feature the new high-end Purify woofer that plays deep bass with insanely low distortion. The accuracy is razor sharp with fast transients and deep soundstage, all while never being fatiguing due to their new aluminum tweeter. They are a sealed cabinet handmade out of real wood, such as walnut, oak, and ash. So when you're not working on a mix, they have models from compact to tower speakers that look and sound world-class. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about them, click the link down in my description to hear about how they fit into my studio workflow.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the speakers then?
Oh yeah,
Let's
for
do
sure.
it.
Let's talk about the speakers. I mean, you heard them.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts first?
First things first, like I was like, they got some crazy bass, and it's tight, and it's deep, and fast. You know, like I feel like I've heard like almost all speakers now. You know, but these like definitely have something special.
Yeah,
They
for
have something
sure.
special. Yeah.
The mids, like you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, that's
Smooth,
probably one of
bro.
my favorite
Yeah.
favorite things about them, because you get a lot of the detail, but then they're not like piercing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had I don't really want to bag on any brands, but if you have to cut it out, I guess you can. I used to have Barefoots, the Footprint 01s,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were really good with the bass. Like it was super tight. They had the dual sub drivers, but then like the mid range and the treble area was really piercing. Still same thing. Like you get a good amount of detail, but it was just kind of like, it was really fatiguing after a while, right? And I switched from those to the Focal Trio 11s, and those were what I thought to be at the time super solid, right? Like, who uses that? Like Drake's Engineer 40 uses the Trio 6s, so I'm thinking like, oh, this will be the same thing, just more bass. I'll be able to hear more, all of that, and that was true. I really did like those speakers in the right room, in a bigger room, much bigger room than this, and then on top of that. Again, I didn't hear other speakers in that price range at the time, so it was going to be an upgrade for me regardless from the Barefoots, because the beryllium driver on the Focals, they give you that extension without it being fatiguing as well, similar to this, but I don't know that I'm getting the same detail that I am with these, right? And like with this, you just get a lot more value for money, right? Like you get the modular experience. So people that are interested in these, like I might want to get the beryllium versions, and it's nothing but for me to hit up James and Mark and get me a pair of the beryllium or even the diamond tweeters.
You got diamond now?
Yeah, they have diamond tweeters that they said are probably the top of the top of
When
what
did they say
you
that?
want to get.
I haven't heard about that yet.
That was, I want to say it was some months ago, maybe like 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh.
They were testing out the diamond tweeters. Supposedly, I heard they're also maybe going to come out with the diamond mids to match. So, you know, imagine that with how tight the bass is.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I want more extension, I could take out that plate on the speaker, and it would give me a port, essentially. So I could get more...
Really?
Yeah, I could get lower in terms of the extension.
I'm just finding all this out now.
SPL. Yeah. So like these speakers, they do a lot.
Yeah.
For me, I just, to keep everything simple, I ended up just doing the bass speaker, and I have everything going in digitally. Like I don't go analog into the speaker, because I wanted to avoid that extra conversion. So it goes computer to the Lynx, out AES, and then in AES to these. And so there's only one point of conversion, which is the speaker. And in terms of why I chose the Silks at the time was just because budget constraints, really. Again, like I said, I might upgrade in the future, but like you heard, you get a lot for what you're getting already, and it's just like how much more until it's like diminishing returns. But you know, I might get a pair, like I said, of the berylliums, test them out. If it's worth it to me, I'll keep them. If not, James and Mark are, you know, they're good guys. They'll hook me up if anything. If not, I'm sure they wouldn't mind taking them back.
Because you can just take the tweeter out, right, and just replace it like that, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's the whole concept of having like a modular speaker, which I personally have never heard of before, where like the company will just let you upgrade yourself. Like you don't have to buy a new speaker. You know, a lot of the times when you want something new in terms of your monitoring chain, you need to replace like a full something, whether that's the pair of speakers, whether that's the converter, whether that's your controller. These are just to me, they're very like one and done, right? Because if I ever wanted something new, I would just upgrade the speaker at this point.
That's fire. That's a huge deal, honestly, because I don't think I've seen like a speaker similar to this. And plus, they're adding like the sub, right?
Oh yeah. They're adding the sub stands, which is gonna basically be like this driver, this Purify driver, but obviously in a bigger format. And I could only imagine the low end extension that you would get from those, plus how tight it is.
Yeah.
That's just gonna be a killer combo.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know, these are the PDP MUM-8s. PDP being present day productions on YouTube.
Yeah. Go check their channel out, but also if you guys are interested, let them know that I sent you. If you guys have any questions about them, feel free to reach out through, like, to me. You could be through Juice.
Yeah.
And just, I could help you guys out as much as possible. If you're in the area, I can maybe hook you guys up with a demo. That's kind of what we're doing here too, is doing a demo of these and really just showcasing what they can do, because I definitely think that more people should know about these smaller companies, again, like the PDPs and the Hazel Rigs. So, just hit me up if anything.
One more question about those. Is this plate, is it designed to be a port, or is it designed for the tweeter to move there so you can flip them?
Both, actually.
Both.
It could be a port, but you could also set them up horizontally. You would just take the tweeter out, put the tweeter in that hole, and then the other, like this top portion where the tweeter is, could actually then be a port as well. So they've thought about a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like if I were to upgrade, I would probably buy these.
For people that might not want a 3-way version, they also have the MUM-6 that they recently put out.
Yeah.
Same brand of driver, but it's going to be a little bit smaller. It won't be this 8-inch. I believe it'll be like the 6.5, but it'll be a Bleesma tweeter too. So you'll get the same, like very similar mid-range treble response. And honestly, if you like those Bucards that had the Bleesma drivers as well.
The Purify.
Oh, the Purify. Yeah, sorry. The Purify drivers and then the Bleesma tweeters for these. The Bucards had the Purify woofers. And then I think it looked like it was similar drivers in terms of the tweeter to the Amphions, right?
It's their own tweeters.
Oh, it's their own. They just look similar.
Because you're talking about the waveguide?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just look similar, yeah.
I feel like you would love them, to be honest.
Bro,
I can't really think of people not liking these speakers.
Because I'm unbiased. I'm going to keep it real. Like, I've heard all of them, but still to this day, like my favorite speakers to mix on are the mix cubes.
Oh, yeah?
And that's it.
Yeah, the paper cone.
Because they hurt your ears. You can't produce on them. Like, don't get me wrong, they're still secondary monitors. You can't just have those,
Yeah.
But they literally do everything, like, for the mids. You just fix the mids, and once you switch to headphones, you're like, damn, like, I didn't even do nothing in the bass, but yeah, it's fixed already,
So you're more of like a mix cube guy over like the NS10 kind of thing.
I've never heard of actually NS10s, but they're similar results,
I never got into it, so again, like you, I never really went the NS10 route.
Yeah.
I've always kind of just wanted to hear everything. I did the mixed cube thing for a little bit too, and you're definitely right.
Did you have two or just one?
I did the one in the middle.
See, that's the problem.
Yeah. So
you gotta
I
have two, bro.
I went away from that for sure, and I was just like, I've seen some people do the two, and then they put them both in the middle.
Yeah.
I heard that works really well too.
Dude, you have to, because I've had one for like 4 years, right? And it just never worked for me correctly, because I like to do like super wet mixes, like a heavy reverb, heavy delays.
Yeah.
It just never worked, right? But once I started using two, then I was like, everything you hear that's important, like all the levels, all the compression, it will tell you like right away.
That's dope.
Yeah. It kind of tuned my ears to, I could live without them for sure, but it kind of tuned my ears to pay attention to that.
And really, at the end of the day, I feel like if you're using mixed cubes, you don't have to worry about the room as much.
No, you don't. Yeah.
Like, it's really just whatever they're giving you. Kind of like how the Calis have that, like, ultra near field concept thing. Similar to that, but like you said, the mixed cubes are just the OGs.
They are, bro. Because doesn't Kendrick's engineer, what's his name?
Oh, Ali?
Yeah, he just uses mix cubes for like 80% of his mix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I heard that. And then he mixes in mono too.
He mixes in mono, yeah. I don't. I'm not a fan of mixing in mono much.
Either, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what I'm doing if I'm mixing in mono. So I just keep everything stereo, and then like most people, I'll do like the car test, or I'll do like the iPhone test and stuff like that.
For sure, bro. So you mentioned earlier you got the Lynx Hilo right here, conversion.
Oh yeah, the Lynx Hilo with the Thunderbolt port in the back. I think they came out with a new Hilo too for people that are interested, but for me, conversion is one of those things where like if it works and it's high quality, it's really like that's all you need. So
yeah, because conversion is one of those things that's such a small piece of the chain.
It is.
Yeah.
It's super small. Really, all you want from your conversion is to be able to hear accurately, both going in and coming out. So as long as your chain does that, then you're solid. Oh, and the routing that you need. As long as it has the inputs and outputs that you need, then you're good. For me, obviously, I'm just here doing vocals, so I only need a 2-channel.
I've heard nothing but good things about it, honestly. Even like
The Hilo?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of saving some rack space and getting their Aurora N line, but I kind of like the feedback that I get off the screen on the Hilo, so I might just keep it.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. One of my homies has one, and you could change it to like a view meter too, right?
Yeah. I do that when I'm recording, just so I can make sure the levels are good. I actually had a 4-channel VU meter here. I still have it like in the other room. I just ended up taking it out and then putting the Hilo in just because I wanted to install this soft tube fader controller. But if I didn't, before, like the Hilo used to be down here, and then I used to have like actual analog VU meters at that top section right there. And because obviously like the Hazel Rig stuff doesn't have the VU meters, and that used to mess with my head a little bit. I always wanted to make sure that the gain staging was solid going in. But now that I've used it for a while, I kind of already know like what settings are pretty even, and then I just kind of tune it from there depending on the track I'm working on.
Before I forget, bro, like, how'd you get this desk set up? You're telling me it was custom.
Oh, this desk. I can't believe I forgot. Because the guy that worked on my desk, I love that guy. That guy is Brian Noss on Instagram. Shout out to Brian. He was super solid. I was looking for a very particular setup, which is this kind of like mastering style setup, so that way I could minimize the footprint of my desk. Before this, and I'll show you a picture after this, I used to have an Argosy, like a 3-bay Argosy that just used to run across the entire length of this short wall, and that was terrible for the acoustics.
Bro, the build on this is fire.
Yeah, it's super solid. That guy is amazing. Brian Noss, shout out to you. He even put my logo on the side of the desk. This was custom built. This was kind of a brainchild of mine, and it was a lot of just back and forth between me and Brian. He had a kind of similar model called the Twin Turbo, which is basically like a double version of this. And I came to him and I gave him this idea of just doing like a single like mastering style. I believe he had something similar as well, where he did like a single stack of this, but then I also wanted to have like rack space on the back and at the bottom, and then there was a few tweaks that he made for me, and it just ended up being like perfect. I have absolutely zero complaints. He did the color scheme for me too, because I wanted something that would match the panels. And he's just an overall cool guy, man. There was some problems with the shipping, not from him. It was more from the carrier, and he sent me out new piece, no problem. And then, he takes care of you, man. He does his own thing. It's like it's something that he does just for the passion of doing it. And,
Yeah, we're going to tag him I'm going to look at his stuff too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say out of everybody, Brian Noss, the PDP guys, the Hazel Rig people, if you didn't know, the Hazel Rig marketing person, or the head of their marketing, is actually in SAC. So I hope to maybe feature their stuff on your channel too.
Yeah.
I could maybe get in touch with them and
Yeah,
see if
dude.
that's something that they'd be down to do, because, you know, they're doing their thing. I don't know if you've seen like Chris Brown's engineer Tizio. He's rocking with the Hazel Rig stuff and the Fern stuff. Baines, which is Young Thug's engineer, he's rocking with their stuff. John Castelli, there's like a ton of people. Just for the record, that they have like their own YouTube channel where they do like mixes and stuff on there, and they have the same equipment, and it's just like super solid. And like we mentioned earlier, you'll be able to hear that vocal chain. I don't know if you brought a mic that you're pretty familiar with, we'll plug it into the vocal chain, and then you'll be able to tweak it, mess with the EQ, mess with the compression,
Yeah, man. So
all of that.
So tell me about it. Like, so we got the preamp on top.
Yeah, so you got the preamp on top and then this compressor at the bottom. The VLC they're almost like channel strip, where it has the mic pre, but then it also has the line in, and then it has this almost like Pultec like EQ. So you could see it has like the low cut and the low boost at the same time with the toggleable frequencies. And then the VNE, which is the compressor, is actually a different style of compression. It's PWM compression. So it's not what most people use, like the Optos and the Verimuse or the FET style. PWM is pulse width modulation, and I believe that has something to do with, like, a reference that somebody used was, think of a light bulb switching on and off at extremely fast rates is kind of how the compression works. And that's how you get very transparent compression, and it doesn't pump like you would think. And again, that's more of something that you kind of have to hear, so you'll hear it for yourself later.
What's the character like of these? Are they just neutral, or they kind of have some sound to them?
I would say they have character for sure. The character I would describe it as is a lot of like second order harmonics, or even order harmonics, sorry. And what that does is it really just kind of feeds you more of what you want to hear, right? Like it kind of gives you more fundamentals to what you're already putting in through the chain. And it's like, when you run stuff through here, it's more of like a feeling thing, but you can hear it at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, because like the Neves, I know at the time were very like mid forward and super pushed, whereas these, they kind of give you that fullness without needing to push the mid super hard, and they're still super smooth. Like you saw on some of my vocal takes, like the S's are not exaggerated, even though I'm compressing them. And a lot of the times compression tends to exaggerate the S's. These, obviously the mic plays a role in that too, but like all this together, it's like it reduces the harshness, right? Like it doesn't sound harsh when you're running audio through it. And the good thing about this too is I can hook this up to the Hilo if I wanted to, and run line level out of the Hilo into the VLC, into the VNE, and then back in. And so I could also mix with it if I wanted to as well. If I wanted to add more compression, or let's say I did an EQ when I was recording, but I want to use that EQ in the mix, I could do that as well.
Nice, man. So yeah, I was talking to him earlier about his album that he mixed. You recorded through there, right?
Yeah, I recorded through here, and then again, the songs that I did in college, that was through the Neve and the Tube Tech CL1B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling him like how the mids are super rich, and like how the S's don't hit you in the ear. I don't know how much de-essing you did, but like it's really smooth S's.
Yeah. Part of that too could also be like just the way that I mix. I've adopted a kind of similar style to how, are you familiar with like Jason Joshua and like how he mixes? I kind of have his setup, think of like his setup in Pro Tools, but I've adapted it to my Studio One workflow. And so I have, you know, everything grouped, and then it goes into like the next group all the way until you hit the mix bus.
As in a lot of busing?
Yeah.
A lot of busing?
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. A lot of busing.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't say a lot of parallel, but I have like a decent amount of parallel in my template.
Nice.
Soothe plays a role into my mixes, as it probably does for a lot of people nowadays.
Yep.
Soothe is just, I think Soothe is one of those like instant classic
Dude,
plugins.
it's so nice, bro.
Yeah.
Saves you a lot of time
Yeah, it does.
hunting for stuff.
For sure. For sure.
Yep. You got the console one here. Do you use this anymore or no?
The console one?
Yeah.
So this I actually recently got, and that was because I'm just kind of used to having the transport controls in front of me instead of like having to use the mouse or the keyboard. I like being able to scrub through.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then the other thing is the drive. The console
saturation
one, like the built-in saturation
That's the
is just nice to have.
That's what a lot of people have it just for that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I've heard that from so many people. I have the console one, but the mixing side of it,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, like the channel strip one.
The channel strip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's pretty sick. I don't use it that much anymore, but it's more for like that. I find is great for if you're doing analog gear. I mean, acoustic drums.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Then it works great for me.
And you really get like that console like workflow.
Mm-hmm.
This, another reason why I chose it too is because I feel like most controllers you'll see will give you 8 faders, whereas this one gives you 10. So that 2 extra really made a big difference for me because in terms of like my real like main buses, so I have like my all music, my vocals, background vocals, drums, and then I had like my 808s bus, my effects bus. So that was already 6, and then I forgot what my other ones are. Oh, my mix bus, and then I had 2 more. So all of those I have running, and I didn't want to just keep toggling back and forth between the pages.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to have them all set, and one thing that this controller lets you do is have favorites on your tracks. So this only works for each channel. Oh yeah, you're already familiar with it. So you have to have the plugin on that track for it to be controlled by this. So I choose the 10 that I actually want, and I just leave it there. So that's how I know like that will never change. Like I don't have to toggle through pages or anything. The faders every time I load up a session will be for the same thing every single time, and that's just again back to the efficiency thing and the workflow aspect of everything.
Then you got the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
Pretty sick. And you're running everything off this Mac. Was this like M2 or?
The Mac is a M1 Pro, I want to say. I do want to get a Mac Studio in the future and just have both of these tables clear. These tables custom done too, by the way. From I want to say it's Rubenstein on Instagram. If I will send you the Instagram for that too. That guy is cool. I've been meaning to shout him out for a while now. He's a local person that does the epoxy tables, and I wanted something that matched the vibe of the studio. So I got like the pink like neon effect on the table to match the sign up there. And then the Old English I have done in brown instead of black to match the Hazel Rig gear. And then I also, when I ordered the PDP monitors, James and Mark were kind enough to do them in like a chocolate brown that also matched the Hazel Rig gear. So like you can see, I'm pretty committed to all the stuff that I have now. It's all part of the aesthetic too. So that's kind of just how I've been rocking for a minute. That's why I haven't found my Trinnov microphone in a while when you asked for it, because I haven't had to tune my room for a while. I haven't changed anything for a while. Just because this is how, after I set it up, it's kind of just how it's been for a long time.
I remember you mentioned you have some more mics on the way, right?
Yeah, I do. I actually have some mics from Stam Audio. Not to replace this per se. This is still my favorite microphone that I've used. I just wanted that Stam SA800G. I heard it sounds really close to the Sony, and I've always been curious, so I wanted to maybe book some time with the studio that has the 800G and then shoot it out and have that kind of comparison going. What else do I have coming in? Oh, same thing from Stam. I have the SA47 Mark III. That I've heard a shootout between a vintage Neumann U47 and then the SA47, and that was like, it was almost indistinguishable when I was listening to the clips. So I've always wanted a 47 just because of, you know, how the mids sound on a 47.
Yeah.
It sounds super good, super smooth. And if you don't want something, like if you're working on a track where you don't really want that bright vocal, I feel like a U47 is the perfect microphone for that.
Yeah.
This kind of has both in a sense, where it gives you that 47 body, but that 800 or that 251 top end. But again, like I said, different mics for different songs and everything like that. And if I have this whole setup with the quick change, like why not take advantage of being able to swap mics as fast as I want. And then I recently got that Sony. That's gonna be my travel mic. So the lady and I are planning on going on more vacations, going on more trips. And I feel like with that, I want to have a rig that I could really like capture moments that we're in and use that as like inspiration or as a muse for writing. Because I feel like that's one of the hardest things, especially when we get to a level of understanding that we have, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of just, you get lost in the technicals. You kind of want to just be able to capture moments and then like get more inspiration. I feel like a lot of the times the deeper you get into something, you kind of start losing what you got into it for in the first place. And
Yeah.
I want to find that again as we're traveling. So I'm building that setup right now too.
What about those headphones right there? What are those?
Oh, these are the Odyssey LCD XCs.
Chunky.
Yeah, they are. They're huge. I mainly got these as a mixing tool and also to be able to track with it. I personally found that I still like tracking with these. I don't know why. It's just something about the M50Xs that just, when you're tracking with them, it's just easier. I think it's because since these are so analytical when I'm tracking with them, it's like I'm kind of like being too, same thing like with the headphones, like I'm being too analytical because I'm hearing too much. And then also the weight of these is a lot more, so I don't feel as comfortable. And it like, I feel like when you're singing and then like you have this weight on your head, it's kind of like weighing you down.
You have that Mike Tyson neck out.
Yeah. These sometimes I use, let me open these up. So these are 64 audio.
Oh, nice.
U12Ts.
Those are nice.
Super solid IEMs. I mainly got these as like on the go, like high fidelity listening type thing. So I take these with me when we travel. I don't know that I actually like singing with these on anymore because I feel like it makes me sing different. If I'm rapping, it doesn't really bother me too much, right? Because with rapping, I'm not really trying to hit notes as critically as when I'm singing. So these are good for just on the go or when I'm rapping and I don't want to have headphones on, because the thing with like these M50Xs sometimes is I feel like they creak and the mic will pick that up. So it all depends, and it just gives me options. That's how I'm feeling that day.
I have those same ones.
The M50s?
Yeah.
Do yours make a sound when you move sometimes?
Not so much. They kind of just hurt my head when I use them for a while. So I'm not too much a fan for tracking. They're great.
Yeah,
because it sounds exciting.
I want to try some more headphones for tracking, or like maybe like earphones too for tracking, just because I don't know, I feel like if I find something that's more portable, I might just start bringing those around, and like maybe something I can mix with too. That might be a solid option. Again, back to like the efficiency thing. If I could find something that'll maybe replace all three of these, I'll just sell these and
there you go.
just stick to one pair. But headphones are just one of those things where, you know, if you're working collaboratively, you're gonna probably want multiple pairs. Like I have a friend, or I have a couple friends actually that produce as well, and I'm supposed to be working with them soon. Again, like I said, I'm getting back into the flow of things and working on more music. I have a EP coming with produced by Jim on Instagram. He's He's my brother from the Central Valley. We used to hoop together, and we kind of just bonded through music. And so we're supposed to be working on an EP, and then I have my lifelong brother who he did OP on my album that you listened to.
Yeah, sorry.
And we're always like, if we can, trying to work together if possible. Probably have a collab coming up too with one of my brothers from Leimert Park, Eclipse. So I'm probably gonna have a song coming up with him too. I sent him a verse not too long ago, and then I also have a track that I'm probably gonna want him on soon. So we're always working together. He's on my album too, so you guys go check that out and let me know what you guys think of the song. I like to have as much people that I know that are in music, like collaboratively working on my music if possible, as long as you know how it is, like as long as the vibe is like matched well and we all have the same goals in mind. But when it comes down to it, really, like all the gear and everything that I'm doing, it's not, I wouldn't even say it's to like get big or get popping or anything like that, or to be famous. I really just do this for like the passion of like making music and at its core, because that's what I started with, you know what I mean? So I've never really been one to stress about like, oh, I gotta put out a song like every week, or like, oh, I gotta do this and that, or else I'm not gonna be famous. Like I've never really tripped off of having to be that way. You know what I mean? Like
that's good, because if you're making music for the fun, then all the other stuff comes along with it, you know?
Yeah, like all the other stuff has definitely came, and I've seen things come and go. Like I've put out music that did really well, and then I put out, let's say, like another song and it doesn't do as good as my last song, and it's like, I feel like when people are chasing numbers, it's always going to be like this constant battle of trying to do things that maybe you don't even really want to do. Now you're just doing it because you want to hit certain numbers. For me, I just want to make music that is like authentic to me and like my experiences or like the people around me, and then kind of just go from there. And then like the people that rock with it, then, you know, like they support me, and I appreciate them, and I try to give them as much love as they give me, and it's been working. Like the people that enjoy my music or support my music, they've stuck around, you know, and they still listen to my music. So you know, just salute to all of them. I appreciate all of them.
Yep. We'll have all your links down in the description.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate
Anything else you want to shout out about that?
My Instagram.
Yep.
It's TheRealKey on IG. It's the same thing on Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter too much though. For people that want to collaborate with me, features, producers, it's TheRealKey@gmail.com. On Spotify and Apple Music, title, it's just going to be TheRealKey for my artist name, all one word, so it's easy to find. And just kind of just be on the lookout for new music. Like I said, check out my family that produces. Again, my brother from the Central Valley, my other brother from the Bay, and then the big bro down in Leimert Park over in SoCal. So we're all working collaboratively. Obviously, if you guys haven't subscribed to Juice already, subscribe to Juice. Definitely want to work again in the future. Yeah, again, if I could hook you up with the PDP people or the Hazel Rig people, I definitely want to do that and kind of spread the word. And I'm real big on wanting to see everybody win. You know what I mean? I feel like we are in a time where everybody can win. Like, I don't think you really need to like step on other people to get to where you're going. I've never really believed in that. So the more people I can help out, man, just
appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
Always down to meet new people, creatives.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
I'm from a small town where there's zero creative, zero. You know
yeah,
what
I mean, the whole like Northern California, it's kind of, when you compare it to places like SoCal or like Atlanta or Miami, it's like the creative space is there, but it's not huge like it is in those places, and even less so, like it's not as unified as it is. Like bro. It's super unified out in those other major cities, whereas like here it's kind of like they're like dots on a map, you know what I mean? Like certain spots. So finding that is like a gem.
Oh, 100%. Like even the studio, bro, like when you hit me up, I was surprised because all the gear here is like high quality gear. You feel me? Like,
Thank you.
yeah, like it's all done right, you know? So I appreciate you letting me come, bro. We'll try this vocal test out though real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
For sure.
OP, only in my line, what you feeling lonely? And even though I already know, girl, let's pick up the phone. And I don't wanna waste time on you, but girl, I'm still FaceTiming you. Girl, you know what you doing, that's why I'll be there in a few. Girl, you know what we do. Yeah, out of pocket, stop it. Baby girl, you knowin' how we rockin'. Say you gotta remember when you hear me, girl, we lockin'. Baby girl, it's been a minute when you finna drop it. Walk in your crib like a problem, and if you got a problem, then I got no problem solving. Baby girl, I seen this type way too often. Hit him like Mike, now I got him moonwalking. Cause baby, I'm bad, smooth criminal, how I get in my bag. Fat your hands, girl, I make him lean back. Mr. Steel, girl, Trey songs, but I rap too. So let me know what I could do for you, baby. You said your man don't do for you, baby. Got the things I'm about to do to you, baby. Yeah.